Good morning, everybody. Can you guys hear me clear? One second. I'm just trying to set up my chart right now. I don't know why it's not showing up. Show up. Why are you doing this to me? Okay, I'm just gonna remake this. My goodness. My screen is not showing the chart, which is unfortunate. I'm not sure why it's doing that. Why you do this to me? Maybe I should restart my trading view. Oh, it's working. Alright, nice. Beauty. It just took a minute. Alright. So right now, all I'm looking at is, to be honest, I'm looking at this low here. Because if we're looking in terms of YMNQ, if NQ drives lower to take out this low, all the way here, right? Actually, it would be this low for YM. Then that's a pretty big massive SMT divergence on the low. So we could potentially look for higher prices. Right now we have this SMT divergence on the high, so I just draw my projections out from that SMT divergence, and I see that we are in the -2 to -2.5 standard deviations right here. So from this point, expect some sort of retracement. We are inside this RDRB, so we could potentially see a continuation lower into -3.5 to -4 standard deviations. Now the only thing that makes me feel a little more unclear about price action right now specifically is that yesterday by end of day we had an expansion. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Aramis, Chris, Curtis, Elsie, chill study date, Clyde, good morning, Christopher, good morning, Judy, thank you, appreciate the kind words. The blind fox, X, Miss Salinas, morning, Megan, Nose, Steve, Danny, TC, lots of familiar faces. Nice to see you guys back. Okay, so what's the setup looking like? What kind of mic or camera you use? So I use the Shure SM7B for my microphone, and then for my camera I use the ZV-1, the Sony ZV-1 or something. That's actually, shout out to Casper, because he actually sent me this camera. He was like, yo, you gotta get your face in your content. So he sent me like a camera and some lighting gear. So I'm like trying to, I ordered a bunch of like furniture and stuff, so I'm getting that set up for like my backdrop essentially, and then I'll get the camera going. What else did I miss, bro? This daily internal range liquidity feeding. Yeah, so right now I'm still looking at okay, first of all, you have this internal range liquidity. If you are just looking at internal external solely, you have this one. And then also the major one I'm looking at is all the way down here. This is a very big inefficiency in price, right? So this could be a very good draw on liquidity, as well as this low right here. This would be the IPTA 20 low. So I think that there's a pretty good chance we're bearish here. And the reason I say that as well is we have a massive SMT divergence on the highs right here. All right, SMT that with YM, you see that? Where NQ takes that high, YM doesn't. And then YM's about to create that market structure shift that pretty much confirms that I'm bearish essentially. Uh, 4-hour gap already violated. Yep, this one inverted, so it's most likely going for this one, right? Very good draw on liquidity. I'm gonna make my chat bigger. My vision is terrible. What did I just do? I'm so confused when I just clicked. Oh, that is the wrong button. You like NQ better or ES? I like NQ better personally. I think I just trade it. I don't know. Honestly, I don't have a preference. It's more, I think I just end up like executing on NQ based on like the 3 markets, to be honest. I don't really find a difference per se. The only thing I would say is the drawn liquidity is sometimes different. So like for example, right now YM looks like a clear drawn liquidity on the lows, right? Whereas NQ doesn't really have much to really go off of. Same as ES, you have these low resistance liquidity run on the lows. Then that's when I would like kind of swap markets. But I usually just execute on NQ. So close below -2 to -2.5 deviation. Yes, I agree. That's something I was also looking at. But with the way YM's trading right now, if it takes out this low first, and we get that massive SMT divergence, then we can possibly see some sort of, we can see this area be a very sensitive area right here. If we get that SMT within here, right? So we'll have to wait until we see that. Morning, Anis. And we're sitting in a daily gap though right now. Yeah, so that's right now that daily gap isn't very convincing, and the reason I say that is because we're kind of trading through it, right? So if we were respecting this gap, then we want to pay attention to the midpoint of this gap as well. So on the hourly chart, how we're reacting to that gap, right? So look at the midpoint, we trade below it, we trade back into the midpoint of that daily fair value gap, we start getting lower prices from that. So not very convincing that this is the fair value gap to use as of right now. Balance price range on the daily. No, this right here is a fair value gap. Below the daily fair value gap reacting off the hourly balance price range. SMT between yeah, that's exactly what I'm thinking here, Snows. The only thing, okay, before you guys, okay, the number one thing I need to put out there is that yesterday we had a random expansion at the end of the day. So like here, right at end of day, we had an expansion, right? So with that in mind, if you are using quarterly theory, then you already know that today could potentially be some sort of choppiness. So that's just something you can anticipate potentially. And so that's why I'm low-key leaning bullish. Actually, there's two narratives that I'm leaning on. If we are bearish, then I see it as manipulation. Yesterday counts as accumulation. If today is accumulation, then I can see us being bullish, trading back into some sort of inefficiency up here, just rebalancing. You know what I mean? Some boring price action today. But as of right now, I'm not extremely convinced of where we're going. That's why I'm not making like any rash decisions right now. Last QT lecture was crazy, huh? How about Day's lecture? Or hey, then if I was to learn ICT, do you think the 2022 mentorship is where I should learn? If not, where should I start? So my recommendations when anybody asks me where to start with ICT, I always say Market Maker Primer course is your number one go-to. Your number two would be the core content, and then number three is 2022 mentorship. For SMT with NQ, is YM better than ES? It doesn't matter. It's just SMT between NQ, YM, ES. Those three. How do you know which fair value gap or PD array to take? You wait for structure to present itself. So my model, once again, my model is always just number one is higher time frame PD array. Number two is there SMT divergence within that higher time frame PD array. Number three is do you have that lower time frame structure or market maker model? And then number four is once you execute on it, you just manage your trade, right? What do you think about some retracement after a market opening? Right now I'm not paying attention to much. I'm gonna be honest. It's just too unclear, right? Like you don't have clear order flow that's telling you where you're really going as of right now. It's a lot of mixed signals, and when you have a lot of mixed signals, that's when you kind of want to just sit on your hands for now. Another thing that you guys have to put into account is tomorrow we have pretty high impact news. I'm pretty sure it was like Powell speaking tomorrow. Let me check really quickly. Not only that, but we are in NFP week, right? So we can see a lot of engineered liquidity, which means choppier markets. So it's not something you guys really want to force a trade on. You guys want to kind of sit on your hands. Let's see, tomorrow is Fed Chair Powell testifies, and then Friday is NFP, so you guys are gonna want to be, you know, a little more patient this week. Yeah, I'll be here to answer your questions and stuff like that, but I'm not eager to really push a button, essentially. Um. Also, what's your go-to top-down time frames? Honestly, the top-down time frames I found consistency with was just daily to hourly to 5 minute, and that was the most consistent for me. Now I use all the other time frames, but when I first started, just daily, hourly, 5 minute. That's all you need. Like, trust me, that's all you need. It just keep it simple. If you want, you can even do monthly, daily, hourly, 5 minute. Ethan, which lo-fi channel are you playing? I don't know. I just searched no copyright lo-fi and I play it. Let me look. It's Stomp's Playlist is the name of the channel. Running ES since 5146.5. Damn, nice short, bro. Stuff. I think ES is better to trade for beginners as less whippy. Yes, so I would say ES is better for newer traders. NQ can be more volatile, right? So if you want cleaner trades, well, how I choose cleaner trades is based on SMT, but ES is generally a cleaner market as well. So you can definitely pay attention to ES if you are newer, in my opinion. NQ is kind of like, okay, I know how to trade now, so I want more volatility, you know, that kind of vibe. I think today we will see retracement up because price touched 1 hour balance price range and then form SMT. Yeah, so what I would say is journal that down, and then after it plays out, if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't happen, then you just have that journaled, right? So then that's what I usually do is a pre-market research, right? If you guys watch my journaling video, I do pre-market research, so I kind of plan out what the whole day or the whole month really what I want to see, and then by end of day I always do aftermarket analysis, compare my expectations to what actually happened. By the way, what time frame do you use for SMT divergence? It really depends. So it depends on what cycle you're using. So like if you're using the monthly quarters, weekly quarters, daily quarters, sessions quarters, right? Like it's all dependent on that. So typically I will be looking for SMT divergence on the 5 minute for my intraday trades. It's either the 15-minute or the 5 minute is where I'm usually looking for them. Bro, are you really trading this choppy ass market before power news tomorrow? Yeah, once again, it's just being patient for the high impact news coming up. Damn, I am so behind on the chat. I'm like 5 minutes behind. Friday would be the quote unquote best day, no? After NFP? Yeah, I think after NFP you will find something to do. What's your bias on Euro? Trade at 15-minute P rate, moves higher or mitigate 4 hour. Let's take a look at Euro. I don't really trade Euro, but oh damn, Bitcoin, did it hit all-time high yet? No, not yet. Almost. Very close. Take a look at Euro. Kind of just consolidation in my opinion. I don't really want to do my analysis on this, to be honest. It doesn't look promising. Daily chart starting to look a little bullish here, I would say. But once we start dropping down to lower time frames, there's a lot of consolidation. There's also a lot of low resistance liquidity down here on the lows. I think this might be if this is a SMT divergence, then I would be bullish. Let's see if that's a SMT divergence on GU. Yeah, so that is a SMT divergence. So I would be leaning bullish, more bullish here on Euro USD. Just switching from forex to futures, you got any tips? I wish I got tips for you, but the thing is, I never traded forex, so um, number one tip: SMT divergence between between NQ ESYM. That's the number one tip. There we go. And from my understanding, the index futures are not as range bound as forex, so expect more trending markets, I guess. I think that's something that the thing that sucks is all the prop firms are changing over to DX trade, so everything has been lagging or not working at all during each challenge. Yeah, that is pretty frustrating. I understand that. Personally, I just go with futures firms, and then I don't know, I've been using NinjaTrader, like the Rhythmic NinjaTrader, and also Tradeovate. So I personally haven't had any issues with that. I heard other people did though. What kill zones or sessions do you look for price action? I usually look for price action between 7:30 and 7:30 to 10:30. That's really the window of time that I really look for trades, pretty much. But you know, you have to use that in context as always, right? And that's kind of what I try to emphasize in every single live, every single lecture, is like higher time frame context is really where it's at. It's like without higher time frame context, like you have nothing else. You know what I mean? There's times when I trade at like 12 to 1. Yeah, that's definitely a time you don't want to trade because that's the lunch hour. Unless the only time I would trade during lunch hour is because lunch hour, which is 12 to 1:30, that's Q1 of New York PM session. So you can, if you're expecting some sort of expansion during the lunch hour, then you can trade then. But generally you want to avoid the lunch hour. What do you think about Bitcoin? I think that shit's going to the moon, and you know, you can try to stop it and short it, but you're just gonna get wrecked. So the play on Bitcoin, in my opinion, is wait for it to settle down, and then you can reassess your approach. What exchange you use for trading crypto? I use BitGet. SMT with you? Oh yeah, I'm pretty far behind on chat again. Can you take a look at NQ 5 minutes? Yes, I can. Now, I can look at this, but once again, without a higher time frame PD ray or something to frame it off of, like, I mean, I guess we have this RDRB, right? So we're respecting RDRBs going lower, and you can frame your trade off of that per se, because you have SMT divergence on the highs here, I'm pretty sure. Okay, let me see. Do you have SMT divergence? I don't see SMT divergence, so it's not necessarily something I would want to take or really pay attention to as of right now. Once again, I'm just waiting for the higher time frame to become a little clearer, because right now it's like it's not the clearest. You know what I mean? Like if you're looking for a clear trade, like this back here was a clear trade, market maker buy model, right? Or last week this was a clear trade because there's market maker buy model. You can like clearly see that. Right now it's like it looks like a market maker sell model, but it's not very clear in my opinion. On top of that, we're about to get that SMT divergence with YM, so if we get that on the lows, we can look for higher prices potentially. So right now I'm just really not trying to pick a top in the market, because you know we are pretty bullish right now in NQ. So until we get a reason to be bearish, I'm gonna stay bullish. What did I miss in the chat? 1 hour for rally get hit. SMT with ES and standard deviations lining up with swing high from yesterday. Is this a market maker model? I would wait. Once again, wait. Very keyword, wait. until it's very obvious that it's going somewhere. Because right now it's not obvious where it's going. There's no displacement or anything right now. So I would just wait, like very keyword is wait. We don't have to take a trade today, guys. Like there's gonna be opportunities tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, next week, next month, next year. There's always gonna be opportunities. You just have to engrave that into your mind that there will always be another setup. Even if, okay, let's say the perfect setup shows itself today and you missed it. It's gonna come around again. Like you're gonna find another setup that is A plus 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 plus. It might even be better than the one today. Right? So if it's not painfully obvious to you and you're second guessing yourself, it's most likely low probability. And that's why I'm telling you guys right now, it's not painfully obvious to me to the point where I'm just kind of waiting a bit. Can you comment on the 15-minute SMT lows between NQ and ES? When would you see that as confirmed? This SMT over here. So if you're using this SMT on the lows right here, I would say this is confirmed when you get a market structure shift, right? So whenever people ask me, when do you confirm SMT divergence? It's just market structure shift. That's how you confirm it, in my opinion. You wait for that. Right? So if you're looking for an obvious trade here, you're going to get that market structure shift right here, right? And then look for that ICT 2022 model right here. You know what I mean? You can use your projection swings once that happens, and you can look for a market maker buy model. But until that happens, you just have to be patient and wait, right? Right? So that lines up pretty well. But you still have to wait for that to happen. Because for all you know, this low right here is going to just drop below this, and now you don't have SMT anymore. So that's why it's so important to be patient. Did you confirm SMT by shifting market structure? Yes. Ethan, is there an SMT at the lows? Yes, there is right now. It appears YM is out of sync with NQ and ES, so how can it be used for SMT? I'm using it as more of a macro scale SMT divergence. So if we're looking at this chart right here, specifically the 1 hour time frame, it looks pretty massive, right? You just jump up a time frame, right? It looks like, oh, okay, and that looks like a regular old SMT divergence because we hopped up a time frame, right? So we can use different time frames to gauge different scale SMT divergence. Does that make sense? So it's like the higher the time frame the SMT is occurring on, the more powerful it is. So if you're referring, okay, so let's say we're referring to my monthly cycles right now. So let's say I'm referring to my monthly cycles right now. Okay. So if we get SMT divergence on our monthly cycle right here, and this is a monthly cycle SMT divergence, that's a lot more significant than seeing a weekly cycle SMT divergence or a daily cycle divergence. You know what I mean? So it's just understanding and gauging what is more important in the moment, if that makes sense. Back to the 1 hour. Yo, what's up, Elijah? W's in the chat. I don't know if you meant to say in the chat. Good morning, Daniel. Really appreciate the lecture and Q&A sessions. Of course, I got you guys. I think I saw someone said that time between in a session 50-10 is usually where. Yeah, so those are macros. Chill study date. Why ICT is so bearish on Bitcoin? I want to say that it did look it did look bearish. I'm not gonna lie. Like over here, I was bearish too, right? Right here, I was bearish once we took that high out, looking for a short into all this low resistance liquidity. But once we invalidated that and just pushed higher, like that's no longer bearish, right? You're just looking for continuous bullishness. And even if we get bearishness here, we have to displace past all these bullish PD arrays before we can even consider these lows. Which is why I'm saying if you're trying to short here, you're most likely catching a rocket ship. You know what I mean? So right now, YM's driving lower, right? A little bit of delayed price action on the equities open. So right here, we have YM driving lower. Let's see if it takes out this low and then creates that SMT divergence. And potentially, if we fail to get that closure below negative 2.5, we could potentially look for some sort of upside. But until that happens, once again, we're just sitting on our hands, right? A lot of people think we needed email / internet. A lot of those. I agree with that. It's also because the ETF got released, right? So because ETF got released, it created a very easy funnel for people to get into Bitcoin essentially. And so I forgot, one of my friends told me, he said I think it was like the Bitcoin ETF was like one of the fastest ETFs to ever get to 1 billion market cap or something like that. I forgot, but it was pretty crazy. Not gonna put risk on this week, considering news, just asking for educational purposes. Awesome. Now, I wouldn't say don't put risk on this week. It's if your setup presents itself, then go for it. But other than that, you're just kind of sitting on your hands and waiting, right? So very good mindset. There was a unicorn setup on ES at 8:05 a.m. Would you have taken this or discarded due to time / events today? Yeah, I would have just probably disregarded because we have news at what's it called, 10 a.m. 8:05. Yeah, I feel like that's just not a trade I would have taken, to be honest. Like we had no SMT either. So far so good on the bearishness. Good stuff, Elijah. Do you trade London session? I don't trade London session personally, but if it's high demand, then I'll stream London session. It is like 2 to 5 a.m. for me, so. But if enough people want it, I'll stream London session. Daniel, you mean macro times? When times do you usually look for that? So the macros, if I remember correctly, it was like 8:50 to 9:10, 9:20 to 9:40, 9:50 to 10:10, 10:30 to 10:45, 10:50 to 11:10, so on and so forth. There's more macros, and I don't keep track of them. There's just too many. And that shift would be out of 4-hour order block that created for rally gap, high probability. Yes. I'm assuming you're talking about the 15-minute shift earlier. How many men are willing to talk about their monthly cycles? Kudos. What do you mean by not many men are willing to talk about their monthly cycles? 1 minute market maker buy model. When was that posted? 9:31. Yeah, I wouldn't. I mean, that SMT's gone now, right? Like I said earlier, it's like you want to wait for that confirmation, and until you get it, you don't really want to be in that. And so there's a perfect example of it looked like SMT originally, but it just plummeted, right? Didn't get that confirmation. Nice, nice, nice. Good stuff, Elijah. Continuing in your direction. Bitcoin is going to be worth 400k to 1 mil sooner than people think. Game theory is playing out. Having an ETF meant Bitcoin has unlimited buy pressure now. It's going to be insane this time. Crazy because people don't hold Bitcoin when ETFs are only buying Bitcoin. This cycle will be the last cycle for all, I think. Yeah, we'll have to see. Definitely not against that idea, but I think 400k to 1 million is like, it's pretty far out there. So it's just something you would kind of just hold, I guess. Like Bitcoin, just something you hold. Macro are just the wicks of the hourly candles. Yeah, that's something I haven't studied, so that's interesting. That is. London would be great, especially for beginners, because AM is too stressful sometimes though. Well, yeah, I guess. I mean, London is essentially you're trying to catch like the high or low of the day essentially. So I think that when it comes down to like trading London or New York AM, and I haven't like tried trading London as much, so I wouldn't really know, but I feel like it would be essentially the same thing. You're just analyzing exactly the same way. Daily fair value gap at 18,030. Yes, I think that's the one I was paying attention to, but right now we're kind of displacing into it, so I don't know how I feel about that. This one right here. Right, so you might want to be careful because it does look like it's displacing. If this closes as is, then there's another S&P on highs on the 3 recent candles. Then maybe it can continue to be bearish. There is indeed SMT divergence, but I personally don't know if that is something I would use. It's an SMT, but I wouldn't say it's the highest probability SMT. I did miss the monthly cycle joke. I don't get it. I'm sorry, I'm a little slow. Somebody's gonna have to, like, I think I get it, but I don't get it at the same time. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I got it. There's a lot of fake moves in London. Yeah, I haven't traded London, so that's something I'm gonna have to like look into, I guess. Yo, I've been having stomach issues, so it could very well be my period, bro. Can you look at gold? Yeah, I'll take a look at gold. Let's see what's going on here. My target's been met, but I think gold's going to all-time high again, right? Oh, it is. So it's going for all-time high again. I think that it's just very obviously bullish right now. Yeah, there you go. Once again, you're kind of just paying attention to immediate order flow, and that's what I was telling the Discord, that you're just paying attention to immediate order flow. Like from down here, I was like, what's price doing is we're just consistently trading higher from these fair value gaps, right? Like trading higher, trading higher. This one right here, trading higher, right? And it's just consistently going higher. So you just want to pay attention to what's happening in price right now, specifically. And so it's all pointing upwards. And that's why I was saying the target up here is pretty good. Then now it's like shot way past my target and going for all-time highs. So 17 minutes for the close. Would you consider doing a backtesting session or video? Yeah, I'm probably gonna do that, most likely. I usually, whenever I do like backtesting sessions and stuff like that, or Q&A sessions, it's usually in the Discord. But on YouTube, I'll probably like upload like a recording or something. What do you think about SMT for NQ and ES to the upside? Yes, so that's what I'm looking at right now, is like the SMT on the lows right here. So we'll have to see once again what happens. Turn off music. Okay, I got you, bro. I'll turn off the music by popular demand. Damn, it's a little quiet now though. A little too quiet. I'm sorry, TO7. Looks like we're gonna have to meet you in the middle there. Just turn down the music. Was it really loud? I'm using speakers right now, so I don't even know if it's loud or not. Okay, got you guys. Was it really loud? That's my bad. I didn't even realize. He is just dumping off of each true open. Yeah, so I can see this as uh I can see this as, you know, manipulation lower. Looking pretty good. And so potentially look for some upside price action. But once again, we're gonna have to wait. I know it's boring, but you have to do it. It's the part of trading. We have to do it. Don't wait. You most likely get wrecked. So far, so good though, right? Why I'm plummeting to take out these lows in the 4 hour, having this massive SMT divergence on the lows right now. Alright, why I'm taking this low. So now the only thing to do is actually quite literally wait. So while we do wait, I'm gonna go to the bathroom because I've been having once again I've been having stomach issues. I'm not gonna lie. I ate some extremely spicy food. So I'll be back. before I go. Actually, I was just kind of on my phone actually, but this area right here, pay attention to that, and then we can possibly go down to here. If we go down here, then that's no more SMT divergence, right? Unless it's on ES, then we can still pay attention to it. I'll be back. Actually, you know what? Screw it. I don't need to use the bathroom. I think my stomach's just feeling funny. Actually, though, taking a TikTok break. I do use quarterly theory in terms of the session and stuff like that as well. Take us with you? Hey, yo. No commercial break. So right now, honestly, what I'm paying attention to is how YM is reacting to this low. Are we able to get displacement or are we manipulating? I personally see no way in getting involved here so far. Here we have a true session open. I'll just mark that out. What's my bias? Right now, I was initially expecting bearishness for manipulation, but right now we have that SMT divergence on the lows. So I'm kind of just waiting on my hands right now. Right, this SMT 4 hour between YM and NQ. All of this looks like low resistance liquidity though, to be honest. These highs. If we end up getting a run higher. Can you do backtesting video on external range to internal range by just using 1 minute time frame? I've never tried doing it on the 1 minute time frame, but big 5-second bounce off daily fair value gap. Time to execute. Because the only thing is, like, we can also look at this 930 run lower as a Judas swing. Possibly. But once again, I think all this liquidity up here, I feel like it has to be run at some point. Unless it's already been run. Oh, it was run on YM. I didn't even see that. That's the SMT divergence. Here we go, Bitcoin. Actually insane. ERL IRL concept enough for finding bias? Yes. You can just literally use internal external range liquidity for bias. It's like on the, for example, on the daily chart. Well, it's obviously hindsight now, but like you can just see like once we trade into internal, you can look for that market maker buy model into external range liquidity, and then now you're looking for internal range liquidity again, which you trade into here. And then from this internal range liquidity, you look for external range liquidity again, right? It's just like consistent and very choppy price action here, but still what I frame most of my bias off of is pretty much internal external range liquidity, and that's what I did for the monthly chart as well, right? It's just basically once we took out this external range liquidity, we went back into this internal range liquidity, and we went for that external range liquidity, and now I'm just waiting for a reason to go back into internal range liquidity on the monthly chart, basically. But I just don't want to sit here and pick a top. We took the low on NQ but not on ES, then can we look for bullish price action? Yes. That's valid because that would be SMT divergence. The only thing I would say is wait for that structure to be put in first before you flip bullish though, because right now we are getting displacement lower. Yeah, it's actually crazy. I think Bitcoin's gonna hit the all-time high like today. This is actually insane. Can you explain SMT divergence? I'll be releasing a lecture on it, so I'll save it for that. But essentially, it's just like when one market, it's just between correlated markets. When one market makes a higher high, the other one should be making a higher high as well. But if it doesn't, like let's say NQ makes a higher high, just use the example actually. So right here, this high specifically, right? You can see how ES takes out this high, but then NQ doesn't take out this high. So that's SMT divergence because they should be moving together. Here we go. Here we go. That's crazy. That's actually insane. Took 67 weeks to get here. Can you explain the breaker bullish versus bearish? I feel like you can go to my unicorn model lecture, and then I explain the breaker block in there. Because I feel like it's pretty hard to explain without a diagram in front of me. Can we use dxy for EU? Yes, you would use dxy for EU. It's inversely correlated. Exactly, that's the thing with Bitcoin. It's so early. Can't really predict too much about it. It still works, but it's like for runs like this, for example, like you can't really, hard to predict. Currently under daily fair value gap, when would you consider it reversed? On a closure is when I would consider it reversed. But once again, you have this fair value gap here as well. So if you're looking for inversion, that means you have to invert this fair value gap specifically as well. Right? You point out a 20R trade for us today. I got you guys. Short Bitcoin all-time highs. That's your trade right here. 20R trade right here. Guaranteed. Guaranteed. Right here. Easy. To all-time lows. You know what I'm saying? Too easy. Too predictable. That actually is so funny. Next top 69, 420. Yeah, that'd be so troll. Actually. So you can, so now I'm paying attention once again. It's like we're in this, inside this daily fair value gap. We have SMT on the lows on the 4-hour chart. And so now we can pay attention. Are we getting bullish price action here? I own a very, very, very small amount of Bitcoin. DXY dumping? I haven't paid. Oh, Giart, damn. What the bullish price action incoming for index futures? What's my favorite time frames for scalping? 5-second or 15-second chart. But that's in context of the higher time frames, right? That's the only time I would go on those seconds chart. If not, then like the 5-minute, I think is perfect. Once again, I'm not really doing anything here until I get a very, very, very obvious reason to do something. Like right now, there's no obvious reason to do something. I can lean towards one side of the market, but it's not obvious that I should put my money on it. You know what I mean? Which model can we use for trading against the trend? You can use any model. It's just, once again, it comes down to higher time frame narrative. If you understand that you're in a retracement of the overall trend, then you can trade that, right? That's what we're doing essentially on, let's say, a monthly scale. Okay, monthly scale between July 2023 and October 2023, we're all bearish on an intraday time frame, but that's understanding the higher time frame context is that it was bearish. That's why we could sell during that time, right? So you can always trade against the trend. It's just understanding higher time frame context, when to expect that to happen. Yeah, you could be looking at this unicorn on ES right now. To be honest, I think there's a lot of good liquidity resting above that you could target. Is there a 4 hour for rally gap, but inside it there no 1 hour 15 minute for rally gap valid? Well, once again, like if you're using a 4 hour fair rally gap, I would just be looking for that 15 minute. Let's say you're using a 4 hour fair rally gap, I would be looking for a 15 minute SMT divergence within that 4 hour fair rally gap, essentially. You get analysis paralysis by knowing many models. It's kind of just like yes and no. It's because you have to understand, like, once again, it just comes down to higher time frame context. If you understand your higher time frame context, you can use any, you can apply any model. Like those entry models, they're just surrounding the higher time frame market maker model context, essentially. One second, I just gotta manage this trade. I want to see how we react to these lows. If we're bearish, I want to displace past this point right here. Do my stop and profit. Really good so far. I'm up 40 points right now. I just screenshot it actually, just to show you guys the position I'm in. Wait, it's about to hit my TP by accident. No, gotta move it. This is what I'm in right now. Stops to the breaker, right? Continue to displace lower here. Very nice so far. And so once again, I want you guys to kind of understand, it's like once you know what your setup looks like, it should run in your favor pretty quickly. And I'm just gonna close my trade here. 50 points. Pretty good. I like that. Quick 50-point scalp. And so I'm just gonna put that here. Let me calculate the R on this. Actually, it's just 2 R's, not that. Because I think it's because I only put 3 contracts on it rather than 10 contracts usually. Plus 2R. Short. Basically, what I saw was just a disrespect of order flow and also SMT divergence on the highs. So if you're looking at the 5-minute, right, paying attention to these highs right here, right, we're just on ES and YM, we started displacing higher to take out these highs, but then NQ was very reluctant to do that, right? And so within this RDRB, start anticipating for some bearish price action. And so from here, once we're reacting bearishly, on top of that, this is a 5-minute fair order block, right? And so if we're getting SMT divergence and we're bearish, then this RDRB should be respected, meaning this fair value gap will be a breakaway gap, okay? And so dropping down to a lower time frame like the 1-minute or 15-second chart, actually, you can now look for more reasoning. And so we have so this is the main SMT that I'm looking at on the 1-minute. And so at this point, once we had a fair value gap displaced lower, I knew that if we're displacing into a fair value gap, it's most likely not going to be respected. And so from that point, I'm just looking for lower prices, and that's where executed is right here. Right? Stop loss somewhere around here. Big profit was somewhere around here. Trade was something like, and that was pretty much the whole thesis, is because I'm paying attention to this daily gap and it doesn't look like we're going to respect it, which is why. And that's the discretionary part of the trading, is that I didn't think that this daily gap would hold. So your higher time frame PD rate part of your model was the RDRB, yes. And this was for a scalp play, right? So I'm referring to 5 minute. 5 minute PD rate is my quote unquote higher time frame PD rate using 5 seconds. I'm sorry, 15 second is 15 second or 1 minute would be my lower time frame in this case. So if you look on the 15 second, it's a lot clearer here, right? Looks like a very nice market maker sell model on the 15 second, right? And so that's why when we were trading into this low, I was saying I want to see how we react here. And you see how we stalled here and then we dropped. So once we pass this low, I want to see acceleration past that low. I think that's the only trade I'm probably gonna take for today. Pretty good though. I'm up 3k. Really good. Yeah, RDRB is essentially a fair value gap, or you can use it as a balanced price range. So I learned RDRB from the MMXM trader, and essentially I feel like I should make a video on this, but essentially what it is, it's like when you have the wick of the first candle overlap with the wick of the second candle, but there's still a gap. So let me find the example I used here. So right here, this is an RDRB because you can see the opening price of this up close candle, right, to the opening price on this down close candle. There's a gap in between that, right? Because the wicks are over, so this would be a quote unquote balanced price range. So you can refer to that essentially. And so by having this here, when you're in the right context, so say you're in a market maker sell model in the right context, it becomes like a fair value gap essentially. And then this fair value gap above it, you can identify that as a breakaway gap. But yeah, I feel like I've explained it so many times. I'm pretty sure in the very first Q&A I ever did on YouTube, it's in there. I explained it in full, and it's kind of just a pain to explain these things like over and over again. So I should probably make some YouTube shorts on it too. Like, what is an RDRB? What is an order block? You know, what is SMT divergence? Like, I feel like I've answered these questions so many times. It's just kind of exhausting. So, I'll definitely make some sort of content on it. Would you recommend the MXM's course? Yes, 100%. I think like the biggest breakthroughs for me in my trading is so price action. MXM trader taught me everything I need to know about price. For time, day taught me everything I need to know for time. And then for psychology, Casper SMC or Jesse, he taught me everything I need to know for psychology. And that's honestly is like picking and choosing who your mentors are is so important because of that. So how I go about finding my mentors is I ask myself, what am I trying to learn right now? And who is extremely proficient at that specific thing? And so you ask yourself, okay, well, who's really good at price action? Well, the MXM trader was really good, so I decided to go with this course. Who's really good at determining when to trade, where to trade? Day with his quarterly theory, so I decided to learn from Day. Who is really good at simplifying concepts in a way that I can really grasp everything and put everything together? Casper SMC. Jesse was really good at simplifying things and making my psychology extremely manageable. And one thing that I told him was that prior to his mentorship, I knew like 1,000 things, but I didn't know how to apply them. And so he answered that question for me, is how do I apply all of these different things I know? Right? I know what an order block is. I know what fair value gap is. I know what a dealing ranges, I know what projections are, I know all these things, but how do I apply it all together and blend it together? And so Jesse changed that for me, right? If you follow or are attempting to learn from more than 2 to 3 people, you're hurting yourself, especially if they are using different strategies or different entry models. I kind of agree with that. How I'd like to do it is obviously number one is learning from the source of it all, which is ICT. And this is something I realize a lot of people don't have the attention span for, that I am fortunate enough to have, I guess. Um, I don't I don't enjoy like sitting for hours and hours in front of ICT, but sometimes I kind of just put it in the background and it's like a podcast to me. So I take away little gold nuggets every now and then, which is really nice. And I think the biggest thing that I do different from others is I treat it like entertainment. You know what I mean? It's like when I learn something new, I don't just immediately try to apply it. I kind of take it in. I'm like, oh, that's interesting. That is something I can see in the markets every now and then, relating back to my own experience, stuff like that. And then I'll take it with a grain of salt because it's not a part of my strategy, right? And then over time, I'll recognize it more and more and more. And then eventually I'll apply it because I am a discretionary trader, right? So at the end of the day, it's like when I'm applying things, it's not 100% mechanical. So now that -3.5, -4 standard deviations have been met. So that was pretty much my target. If I'm having trouble sleeping, I'll put one of his playlists on. Yeah, sometimes the thing, like I would recommend listening to a Shotgun Saturdays if you're like sleeping to and stuff like that, because whenever you're looking at his like lectures, like you need to be able to see the screen, like what he's pointing at and what he's talking about. What higher time frame, intermediate term time frame, lower time frame do you use to frame your trades? I took the same trade as Jesse. But that's awesome. Apparently we took. Yo, I mean, to be fair, Jesse is my mentor, so like if I'm taking the same trade as him, it is like, you know what I mean? Shit. Am I like missing a lot of these messages? I am missing a lot of messages. Did you enter short? Yeah, I shorted earlier. I don't know if I still have the screenshot. Yeah, this is the short I took earlier. um, this is the 1 minute chart. So I just took a short, quick scalp for 50 points, and then I got out. Bears are trying to dump Bitcoin, defend 69K with their lives. There's no stopping it now. BlackRock is behind Bitcoin. That's like having a nuclear reactor on your rocket ship. Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. I think I'm following this account that I don't know if it's true, but like they have 100% win rate, and whenever they call shit, it's like it's immediate. And they say like, oh yeah, we have like insider information on BlackRock. I'm just like, I was like skeptical about it, but I've been following them for a while, and it's just like they've been calling shit like to the T. So I'm like, yo, I think these guys know what they're doing. They're anonymous too, so it's like, I don't know. It's just like 100% accuracy is like very hard to come by, and they're like consistently doing it. It's not even like not like once a year or something. They're calling it like once, like at least once a month, twice a month. And then they called like from like 15K down here or 18K, they called 60K. I'm gatekeeping that. My resource now. I have insider. What else did I miss in the chat? I think that's it. Yes, ICT does randomly scream. He does that. Do you think Day has possibly worked out what ICT has not told us? I think it's extremely possible. Well, that's a question that we'll never know, right? But it's definitely possible. Um, like I've seen such accurate things. It's like that's why my analysis is so accurate. I'm gonna be honest. It's because I'm blending market maker models with time specifically. That's why my analysis is accurate. Okay. And I think that's just like that was the missing puzzle piece for me is time, the element of time. And so now I understand market maker models in confluence of time. It makes life so much easier. And that's why I'm teaching you guys my model, because it makes life so much easier. And I telling you guys, you don't need to know as much as I know, because I don't even use 90% of the stuff I know. Okay, all I use once again, my model is just higher time frame Peter Ray, SMT divergence, and then lower time frame structure, which is that market maker model. And it's so simple. It's 4 steps, guys. Number 4 would be trade management, but it's so simple. It's so painfully simple that you literally cannot mess it up. You can't. You just need to back test it a few times and you'll be like, oh shit, it's there like every day. Then what made you short despite the fact that we had SMT at the lows and we reached a daily fair value gap? Is it because on the lower time frames price was still respecting premium raise? The reason I went short here, I kind of went through my whole thought process, but in my opinion, when it's kind of a scalp play, right? Not really any long-term play. So if we have a higher time for like a big scale SMT, then it won't affect immediate bias. If that makes sense. So if I'm just scalping, all I need to pay attention to is just the lower time frame. So what's the 1 hour doing? What's the 5 minute doing? What's the 15-second doing? And so if by paying attention to immediate bias, I can just do that. And once again, back to psychology, right? It's like I could be sitting here and be like, oh fuck, I should have stayed in this trade, man. I should have stayed in this trade. But you gotta just be content with what you got. So right here, it's like 50 points is pretty good, guys. 50 points is very good. Does Power 3 work every day? Yes, works every single day. Every single day. If you're using a daily cycle, just refer to the midnight open. 50 points. Did I say ticks by accident? How do I calculate? 4 ticks equals 1 point. So 1 tick is 25 cents. 1 point is $1. Did anybody catch any trades today? I think I'm going to be hopping off pretty soon here. It is 10:30, so... Zero trades? That's completely fine. Don't have to take trades. It does look like we're about to flip bearish though. I'm gonna be honest, on the higher time frame. We have this SMT on the low, but it looks like we're gonna invalidate it pretty soon. And on the daily chart, you can see, right, this SMT on the highs looks like, as I was annotating this morning, this SMT on the highs with YM. Then once we get this market structure shift right here, we can start looking for bearish price action. So get ready, everybody, to full port your shorts. That's awesome, Aramis. 0 trades is better than loss. I completely agree. Really good stuff in the markets right now, though. It's starting to look a lot clearer, isn't it? Like, compared to this morning, was it clear? No, not really. But now that we're looking at it, it looks pretty evident that we're going lower, right? Very, very solid stuff. Right, daily chart, SMT divergence, looking for this market structure shift. We'll port the shorts. Yes, there is also going to be this inversion on the daily if we close below this fair value gap right here. Let's see what's going on with Bitcoin. Guys, I gave you this signal, didn't I? All-time highs, full port short, you know what I'm saying? 20R right here. Literally gave you the signal. Crazy. All right, on that note, thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate it. There's actually, like, throughout the whole stream today, there was like 90 of you guys, so really appreciate you guys. Thank you guys for continually supporting my journey. And once again, you guys make it possible that I can teach, right? Because you guys trust me to teach you guys, so I appreciate that as always. Have a great day, everybody, and if you're not in the Discord, feel free to join that. All the links are in the bio if you want, or sorry, all the links are in the description down below if you are interested in joining the community. Otherwise, I will still be on YouTube live streaming every Tuesday. Sometimes I go live randomly on other days, but like Tuesday for sure I'll always be live. And what else do I want to say? Subscribe and hit that like button. All right, take care, everybody. Have a great day. And if you do trade, you know, good luck, good trading, and just be careful until it's until it's obviously very painfully obvious that it's going somewhere, that you know it's going somewhere. I wouldn't push a button. Okay, and that's how you develop as a trader, is you have to make sure it's so obvious. That's when you press a button, and that's your A+++ setup. So yeah, with that being said, have a great day, everybody.